Hello and welcome to the third of 5 sessions of Legacy Life Among the Ruins, which is the second edition of a PBTA game, which is about generational stories. In the case of this, from the main book, a post-apocalyptic generational story, and not your conventional like Fallout style, but more Numenera, more weird, more strange science fantasy. And we've built the world. We've got a map, and we've got our different groups on stage. Last time at the end of the session, we saw one of the mechanics. It was the first time we had a chance to play that with quick characters, where we zoomed in with one particular person and the character from their family, and everybody else made quick characters from their family. And I had put drop downs. Unique drop downs for those quick characters. Per our discussion last week, I've added in the drop downs on those quick characters for the different roles. So when you go to make a quick character, if that happens today, you can drop down on role, and it should look up what the text is for that, and it should also then have the unique ones for each of the families. So that is a small detail I wanted to throw out there. Last time we left off, we had a zoom in from our, I'm going to get all these names here, the Enclave characters. We zoomed in on that, and Starg was able to obtain the pieces they need to carry out their sinister plans. We'll see about that. We left off with the idea that we are going to start off today with, if Patrick still wants it, a zoom in on the Primogen and what the Primogen is doing. And then we would zoom back out, and for the Bastion and for the Vayu, we would do the zoom out bennies that you get for that, for not having been on scene. Now, if either of you decide that, oh, well, I also want to do a parallel zoom in, we can do that. But we're going to kind of try and play with those rules today a little bit. Darren, we'll bring you in sort of in the midst. So let me tell you, I know you listened to the session, what threats are kind of still on the table. We may not get a kaiju threat on this particular session. What I'm imagining is that we'll deal with the threats we have on the table. And my goal is that today we do a turning of the age. Like we get to a point where we've dealt with some of those threats, we do the turning of the age, and we figure out how far forward we go in that time. And there's a whole role for that. And at that point, we maybe can talk about projects and things a little bit as well. One of the things to know is that the turning of the age, that role is based on your mood. So getting those surpluses for your family is an important task in that role, because then you get stuff that you get to carry over to the next age. But our threats that are on the table currently, right now, the cultivar, unless something awful happens that sets them off, the cultivar seem to be contained by the Faraday kudzu that has been built down in the southern area. That leaves us with sort of 3 threats, though the third one may be related to one of the other 2. We don't know yet. The Griffon Nomads are those nomadic other uplifted avians that are moving through the lowlands and taking over areas. They took a significant hit last time, having a number of their people stolen from them and brought over to the Vayu as recruits. So they've got a want that they may be looking at reprisals for. So they are hanging out there as a kind of a hard move. The other thing is the killing fields up north, the color change that has occurred there, and the seeming expansion there of the violet coloration there. Not sure what's happening with that. And then we're uncertainly related to maybe one, maybe both, maybe something else, is this plague, essentially what I'm going to call the doppelganger plague or the Chad plague. Essentially that people are, as they're getting sick, and they're being transformed at some base level into these seemingly identical persons. So that is out there as a thing that we are dealing with. Are there any other details that you think we should definitely explicate or highlight before we get rolling into things? Okay, I don't hear any. So Patrick, do you still want to do a zoom in?
Yeah, part of our thing last time was going and capturing some of the cultivar.
Right.
Names are just gonna kill me in this game. Um, and so I have like a small, weirdly stable breeding population that doesn't hate and want to assimilate me or whatever at the moment. And so to continue with the vague planning that we have, I need to go out and find out something and hopefully collect some sort of sample of the Chad virus, and then start experimenting to see how we can use the two of them against each other, or use one to help against the other, whatever.
Excellent. So your character is going to lead an expedition. We'll figure out where it's going.
Yeah, you were saying something last time about like the Chad plague seems to be more concentrated around the Killing Fields area.
That certainly seemed to be the case to you.
Okay.
So you were thinking about heading into the Killing Fields.
Heading towards the Killing Fields.
Towards the Killing Fields, and drawing in from there. Okay, well then let's go ahead and do that. If everyone could pop over to Patrick's tab on the sheet, and Patrick, your character Hemlock is Survivor, so that's sort of your role in this. And what is the stat bonus for your clan?
Oh, our inheritance thing is +1 to sway or lore.
Okay, so what everybody will do is everybody will grab one of those quick characters, and you get 1, 0, 0, -1 for the stats for your quick character. You'll choose a role and an inherited role, and then you get you said steal or sway.
Yeah,
and you get +1 that. So everybody can grab one of those spots, and you are going on a pseudo-scientific expedition into the Badlands, essentially.
And give me just a second. I need to dog wrangle.
Dog wrangle.
Okay. And if somebody else has read these ahead of time and wants to tell me, like, go over like what the different do quick characters get roles also? They get roles and a special ability, right?
Yep, they get roles and an inherited move.
Okay. And if you scroll down to the bottom of the quick characters, I have the special moves sort of listed out there if you don't want to click through them.
Thank you. That's awesome. And maybe we should coordinate too. I remember last time when we were doing Ari's the Sturgeon, Sturgeon? That's not the name of it. I'm sorry, Ari, what's the name of your
Starg?
Starg. Sturgeon sounds cool though.
Probably descended from that. It's a bastardization.
We like coordinated. We had like complementary quick characters, so that might be a good idea for us here too. Put together a rounded group.
And just to give you an idea of what benefits my family brings to stuff, everybody can have a friendly pet of some kind. You'll have like stun and sleet darts and needles, melee range. You can have a pedigree land mount to travel on, and we have surgeons.
So there's two people. There's two of them, the two healing and the surgeon.
What was that?
The surgeon. Oh, I was saying the two of the inherited moves can heal for your character for your. So that's cool.
Yeah.
So Walter, what are you thinking for your quick character?
Either a green fingers or a surgeon. The green fingers knows medicinal and culinary uses of any plant or animal you encounter. Is anybody else picking that one?
Let's have you grab that then.
Okay.
Ari,
oh wait, is somebody else on the top left corner? Can't tell.
I think so.
I grabbed the top right.
Okay. I think that's fine.
Yeah.
Ari, what are you thinking?
Thinking rebel, and what would be good to go with sort of a rebel, and I put one in steel. I think steel is what, the social? No, survival instinct.
The hardy reduces harm to yourself. The green fingers is about kind of scouting. Of course, animal companion's cool too.
Yeah, I'll take the hardy, and that actually might change. Let's see, steel. Yeah, I'll leave it. I'll leave it as is. Yeah.
And Darren, what do you think?
Just thinking. What's the animal companion, or what's the mounts we all have? Is there a standard Primogen mount?
No, because they're so like wildly divergent into trying different things. If you just went with like the standard one that sort of Hemlock would be gathering up, they'd probably be some sort of like vine horse thing.
And one thing we missed, Patrick, is that there is a move called Tool Up, where what we do is, this is when we zoom in, and something I forgot last time is, how many surpluses do you have?
Not mood, just surplus.
Just surplus.
2.
2. So you get to pick 2 things from Tool Up, and let me tell you what that is. We assume that everybody's equipped with your standard stuff that you've picked, but you can, with Tool Up, for each of these surpluses, pick to add a tag to gear for the mission, like a specialty thing. Get as many copies of a weapon, outfit, or vehicle as is needed to outfit the whole party. Like to have like a lot of wagons or a lot of vehicles, things like that. Add 1 to the quality of followers that you're taking, or get scouts reports worth 1 data.
My first instinct is I like adding a tag, and so I said I had those soporific needles and darts, which are melee non-lethal. I'd like to add range to that, so we can have some dart guns.
Okay. And then what do you want for your second pick?
I feel like we got weapons and vehicles sort of super covered by my family.
Data is useful, I will say.
Yeah.
Around. It's a good resource to have.
What would be a set of followers? Would it be like the quick characters, or
no? The followers
would be surgeons.
That would be like a set of mooks that you have with you.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I mean, they could be surgeons or something else.
I like the data.
Okay.
Can you not go? Is there a cap on data?
Let me see where does the data is up there.
I just asked because your drop down list only goes to 2.
It only goes to through 2. Yeah, just type in on data. It'll make it invalid, but I forgot that that's a thing that can go higher.
I'm not there yet, but just wanted to check.
Okay.
These characters get +1 to sway or lore. Is that right?
Yes. Sway or steal?
Sway or lore.
Oh, is it sway or lore?
Sorry.
He wrote it down.
Okay.
So, my character is, at first glance, turns out to be like a kind of a Primogen version of my quick character I had for the Starg, Holgan, who's was like this really knowledgeable person. So I want to put a spin on this quick character. So I'm going to say her name is Radicans, and she is you know, kind of like super knowledgeable about animals and plants and their uses, medicinal and culinary. But I want to say that whereas Hogan's was like this professorial kind of person, I'm gonna say she's actually like, and I want to bounce this a little bit, get your reaction on this, Patrick. I'm gonna say she's a little bit like kind of witchy, right? Like she's very much an outsider for the Primogen, and like I'm imagining the Primogen are like this very technological, like analytical about their uses, but there's some people who just have this like intuitive feel for their technology, and they're kind of considered like outsider and a little bit witchy. And maybe she was brought in on this mission because they're like, well, this is like something we've never encountered before. She might be useful because she has this weird intuition about like, you know, these things that are.
I like that. The like guiding ethos of the Primogen bloodlines, the different subfamilies, is very much like biology, science, experimentation, that sort of thing. But so like that sort of like intuitive, less formalistic approach would get someone put on the outside, but results are results. And if a bloodline comes up with something good, no matter how they got there, they'll have some sort of status. So I like that, like balance there.
I like that we've got someone who mythologizes your science within that. Ari, what are you thinking then?
Yeah, I'm thinking the name of Turnip. She's sort of this stout, sassy, no-nonsense, brawling chain smoker who is kind of this outlier in her family. You're into like herbal medicines, right? Is that right?
Oh yeah, like every sort of use you can get out of a plant or animal, but hemlock especially plants. So
she might be really interested in recreational uses, and maybe, you know, maybe there's some secretion that comes off of your people that it's forbidden, or maybe for some other place. I'll let you run with it because this is your thing.
But cool, she gets that, like she's built in THC glands or some sort of something like that.
Sure. So where we're going, there might be something interesting for her. So that's
okay.
Neat. That might be profitable. I like that.
And Darren, what about you?
So, your character Mehmet, who is an agent type of person. I'm thinking, I don't know, there's just some scout of some kind. I'm trying to think of like a narrower field for the agent role. But I was thinking of like
a hunter kind of thing, or
I was thinking something like maybe it is a hunter. I was thinking of weird plant things, and like I was starting to think of pheromones, and then that research about how plant roots talk to each other or whatever. But I don't know how to bend that to a narrow field. But maybe it's something about like if this is just the Primogen family, maybe this bloodline has some like monitoring thing, or there's a way I can like connect the group. I might still be stretching that agent role, but something like that.
User skills reveal secret, getting feeling match. Yeah, well, I mean, you could say that. I mean, if you want to say that you can communicate with the plants, and
there we go,
and then use that in a circumstance to give you a Benny. I'm good with that.
Yeah, I'm a plant whisperer.
All right. So we're going to take up with the group. Tell me, Hemlock, did you handpick these people? Were they assigned? How do you imagine that this crew came together? And are there others beside you? Do we have some red shirts, or in this case, green shirts?
I like the idea that I picked two of them and had to deal with one. So I think I picked Mehmet and Radicans, and Turnip like manipulated her way into being able to come.
Okay. So a small team heading out, and what?
And then, green shirts. I do think I'm bringing a couple of those surgeons from our family, just because it would be helpful to have some like on the fly bio work sort of thing. Or if someone gets an arm chopped off, we can help with that.
And what are your mounts?
I like the idea of like vine horses. Like they're animals, they're mammals, but they've been so like hybridized and mixed with this sort of plant that like instead of a mane, they have like this flowering crest going down the back of them, and they're a little bit like stretchy and morphy more than a solid animal would be.
So a little bit like a kelpie kind of sort of greenish horse.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So we take up with you riding towards the killing fields. Not an ominous name at all. And just to remind everybody, under the basic moves tab at the bottom of the third column is our role for the party. Just to remind you where that is, because I had to remind myself where that was. And we'll pull that up and over. Tell me, when you hit the border, what is the sign? What is the transition that you see, that you know that this is the end reach? Is it gradual? Is it like very clear cut? What does that look like?
I think it's pretty clear cut. It's not like perfectly circular. It is organic, but it's not like some of the vegetation starts to turn a little bit violet and slowly deepens. It's like you can see the line between where the infection has gotten to and where it hasn't.
And when you move into this area, radicans, what is the non-visual, the bit from your other senses, smell, hearing, touch, whatever, that signals that you're in a different kind of place, a different kind of environment?
Yeah, I want to say I want to say kind of like scent, but it's not. It's more like pheromones. Like it's like the pollen here is there's something really wrong with it, and it just kind of like the way that it connects with the receptors, the molecular receptors on, on my more sensitive structures. It's just like, it just sends this like, it's almost like a pins and needles kind of up and down the inside of my body. It's really, really not healthy here.
And then Turnip, when you've gone a little ways in, and this is sort of a setup, we're eventually going to do a wasteland survival move, but Turnip, there probably were some posts or settlements that this violet, the zone is expanded over. What do we see? Like, what is the post or the settlement look like? What do we know about that?
How about it's mostly dug underground, but it's got like little bits of roofing that comes like dome shapes that come up just above the ground, but most of it's like dugouts and underground chambers. So we just see that top layer spread out with little bits of smoke or whatever, coming off of it.
And we will probably see those tearings and those scratches from those beasts that we know. Patrick had dropped an image in last time of what they look like, right? Those horrible four-legged hunter-killer beasts that roam around here. And so let me ask you, Darren. You all are of the Primogen, so you know what the signs are. What are these beasts called, Patrick?
We don't have a name for them yet.
What are these beasts called, Patrick?
I don't know. Anybody got suggestions?
The last time we played, there was
Why?
Legacy. Whenever there was a question like this, someone would go, "I think we call them the monsters."
It was a couple weeks ago now that we kind of established the killing fields and like the initial rumors around them. What was it? There was mostly just these beasts. Had they been doing something and creeping violence?
They kill anything that comes in there. Nothing sort of thing.
And the violet is a new thing. The coloration in that is a distinct new.
And the coloration is mostly the plants.
Yeah. Okay, I like this. Violacious.
Violacious.
Nice.
So, Darren, we see the evidence on this settlement that the Violacious have violated the settlement, that they've torn open, torn through the doors, that they've come beyond their usual limits, and we can see the bodies, and they've definitely rampaged over the spot. But let me ask you, what's the other thing that we see there that we're like, well, that's clearly not the Violacious. They didn't do that.
I think that they're I'm gonna steal this. I think that there is like fungal growth, especially coming from the bodies. That is like, I don't know. We probably don't recognize it from the region.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's an unusual set of fungal growth and plants. It almost looks like maybe that Chad virus is doing something to the corpses. Like it's processing it in a different way. And so we see you move in. If you've seen Annihilation, that's sort of how I'm picturing the look of that. If you haven't seen the movie Annihilation, you should, because it's super creepy and very, very different from the book. So we're going to come to you, Hemlock. We've got a wasteland survival roll. Unless you have a move that takes in a different direction or something you want to hit before we go to that.
I have a thing with Forge the Path. It's not necessarily better, but I get the sense that Forge the Path is like there's this specific danger.
Exactly. Yeah. So this is wasteland survival, which is a steel roll.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that sounds good. And this is like framing wise, is this getting up to the edge? Is this stepping over the edge?
You've moved into the area and now you're trying to find something significant. Like you're looking, you're moving around, tracking, trying to find the location that you want to get to. Cool.
Yeah, I've got a +1 in steel, so I'll just stick with that. I don't think it's time to start spending data yet. Oof. That's 7 + 1 is 8.
8. Now, one of the quick characters you could ask one of them to assist you in this sort of scouting process. We can go to that call for aid move.
Ooh, neato. Yeah, and that's categories, not just like a plus whatever, right?
Exactly. Failing a roll as well as you'd like, say what another character nearby can do to boost your efforts.
So we're getting in here.
I'm happy to volunteer.
Oh, I think actually it's probably our scout, Mehmet.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I would love to help out, boss. Well, yeah, I mean, I think we're still navigating to the killing field, right? I gotta remember we're not in the fields.
Well, you are in the fields. Yeah, you've come over.
Okay.
You are moving through.
Okay, got it. Yeah, well, I think it's kind of like a reverse plant telepathy, or maybe there's something about this fungus or whatever that I can't communicate with necessarily, but I can find this way like through it and around it, so we aren't like running through these mushrooms or whatever, and staying away from these like spots where the Violacious have like hit these pockets of like people.
All right, so let's have you roll as well with steel, and we'll see if you can boost that up.
I cannot. That's like a 4.
That is a 4.
Oh,
So the result drops to a 6-, and you share in the consequences here.
oh no.
Tricksy fungus.
So the fungus is communicating with you in unusual ways. And what is the moment where you realize that it has been tricking you?
I think for a while we're like I'm guiding through everyone through this pathway that seems fine. And then I think I don't think. And maybe we go like underground or something into like some sort of structure. And it's like, no, this is like, there's a tunnel. There's going to be a clear pathway, no problems. Then we walk into this tunnel and it's like, oh, we're surrounded or something, whatever.
And that is the thing is there is that moment where you realize that you have walked into a trap, and not just a small sort of ambush, but the our violacious have set up, and they sweep through the group, and the surgeons who are at the back, who are they're kind of coming up the rear, they are torn to shreds. They are ripped to pieces there. And everybody else is going to take 1 harm.
I have a move.
You have a move.
Yes, this won't kill me.
Okay.
Yeah, steel again.
Okay. And luckily, Turnip and Mehmet are both in there. However,
Oh, right. I reduce it.
yeah. The surgeons are torn up. You're kind of caught in this tunnel. The violations are still around. You've probably moved to a moment of some safety here. How are you going to get out of here?
So this won't kill me. I got a 10. It's -1 harm, and also get advantage when escaping the source of the harm.
Okay. So do you maybe want to try and forge a path to get the group out of there?
Yeah, if
You just
people
have
are
to
willing.
Describe to me what the path is, and then I'll let you do that.
So we're in this tunnel underground, and the violacious are coming after us.
And there's only the 4 of you left.
Yeah. Okay. So I think this creeping purple plant plague, the like physical symbol of the violacious, it's like a parasitic infection on all of these plants, and so while the plants outwardly look the same, they've been like rotting from the inside. So we're in this tunnel underground, and there's this root structure from this giant tree that like the village was built around. But all it takes is a couple of hits, and they start like falling open, and they turn into these like horrible passages we can try and squirm through to break up above the ground.
Sure, absolutely. You're gonna have to leave your mounts behind.
I don't even know why we took them into this tunnel.
So let's have you roll Forge a Path, and you can.
I can forge a path. Others can come with me. I have a +0, but advantage. But you have to decide before I roll if you're going to commit yourself to my outcome.
Turnip, would you follow?
Why not?
And what about Mehmet?
I believe wholeheartedly in you as our leader.
Radikins, there's blood everywhere.
And Radikins is already hurting. Radikins has been banged up quite a bit from this. Radikins is scrambling to keep up with the surviving members of the party.
Okay, awesome. So let's have you roll Forge a Path with advantage.
I'm glad I had advantage. That's not a 3, it's a 7.
Now, someone could aid you.
I think this would be the perfect time for Turnip to come in and help us fight off some of these things, or truck them, or I don't know.
What do you think, Turnip?
Perfect time for Turnip to turn up.
Thank you.
All right, so what am I doing here? Am I rolling?
I think this is actually going to be Steel.
Steel.
Yeah, because I think that this is about you fighting kind of standing in the way and fighting them from following up behind you. Does that seem reasonable?
Yeah. It's a survival thing.
Yeah. Let's have you roll with Steel, and we'll see whether you can push it up or cause it to go horribly wrong.
I'm going to use these red dice. I got a +1 Steel.
Yes, there's almost no chance this could go terribly.
Absolutely. Well, look at that. It's a 3 with my bonus. Time for the food processor.
So what is it that you do, Turnip, that creates a worse problem?
Turnips kind of likes it down here in this underground space. So she's trying to help, but she's actually kind of falling back, and the danger's there, but there's these interesting opportunities in the roots and the earth here for collection. So she's like starting to grab things, and as she does, she's falling back further and further.
I think everyone in this process is going to take another harm. So the first time harm move will not operate at that point.
Oh no, it just says whenever I suffer harm.
Oh no, the other people have the cook characters have a first time.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but not Radicans. Radicans is up to 2 harm. Radican gets a -1 stat if Radicans gets any more negative harm. More harm.
I got a wild failure on the this won't kill me as well.
Okay.
What's going on tonight?
This is truly the killing fields here.
So I think that you will smash through, and actually these roots like collapse down, and you fall into like under muck, and you get out, but it is everyone coughing and choking and so on. And tell me, Hemlock, what is the first sign that you've been infected with the Chad virus?
My hair is still like lovely, beautiful vines and leaves and stuff, natural how it's supposed to be. But my browns and greens, like all of my sort of hair tendrils turn this like bright sun-kissed blonde.
And yeah, you realize that whatever happened there, you got a full dose of it. And when you look at Turnip, you see that Turnip's hair is also changing.
I don't like this place.
I would like to make a move with Radicans. I'm feeling like it's half. I feel like I'm kind of building off of this calamity that's befallen us. So what I'm seeing happen here is Radicans is already really gravely injured with 2 harm.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this infection got into these wounds of Radicans and infected Radicans worse than the others. Radicans has begun to turn even more quickly.
And you can ravage you with fever and starting to feel those chills from it.
Yeah, and I want to pull on my 2 moves here. So I've got green fingers, medicinal and culinary uses of any plant or animal you encounter, and also my outsider is you may take 1 harm to roll a stat with advantage. I had chosen lore.
Yeah.
And describe how the side effects twist the area or your body. So what I'm thinking is I'm gonna roll unearth forgotten lore
Okay.
to intuit like some ways we can like either adapt to or take advantage of this virus. But the reason I'm getting this is because I'm like letting it into my body, and it's like completely twisting my body like way more horribly than anyone else here.
Yeah. Yeah, let's have you roll lore with advantage. I mean, this has got to work.
And at this point I've got +2 lore as well. So +2 with advantage. Let's watch me roll snake eyes.
Yeah, you'll go up to hurt 3.
Well, advantage means I get to roll 3 dice, right?
Oh yeah, so you'd have to roll a three-eyed snake.
All
Yeah,
right.
it couldn't get worse than my roll.
Let's see here. I'll get
That would
some
be
new
critical
dice.
in
I don't
yours.
remember which ones are mine. Were those silver dice in the middle mine? I don't remember. I'll just roll some new ones.
Okay.
All right. So, well, I got a 6 and a 2. So that's an 8 plus 2 is a 10.
10. So you gain 1 data, and you get to ask 3 questions.
Nice. All right. So let's see. All right. First, I'll just list them all out. Let's see. Is that a wonder or a horror? I think we already know the answer to that. Where is it draining power from? What dangers is it hiding? And how can I turn it to my advantage?
So what's your first question?
I'm mostly interested in how can we turn this to our advantage?
I think what you can do, given your green fingers, is you can. Normally, this thing progresses very quickly, but I think given the medicines in the area and given what your insight is, you can halt the progress on the group. Like it's not going to get worse for you while you're here.
Here in this location?
Well, with the medicines that you're able to acquire from here, you're able to stabilize and stop it for the moment.
Okay.
Does that seem fair?
Okay, yeah. Yeah, okay. So does that mean that
So it's not going to get worse, and if you guys can find a solution, you may be able to reverse this.
And you're referencing the Chad virus, right?
Chad virus, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, nice. Well, where is it drawing power from? That's an interesting question.
You definitely have the sense that that there is some kind of programming or intelligence. I mean, this is tailored. I mean, you know it from the Primogen. You know how that things are crafted and tailored, and you have this, and you can feel the pull mentally of something pulling you in a particular direction.
In a
deeper into the killing fields.
Okay. Oh, interesting.
Like there's a place that it's drawing you towards.
So this I'm like being called to a location, like a migratory animal or something.
Yes.
Interesting. And then I guess I'll go ahead and just use the. Well, let's see. Yeah, I guess I'll. I don't know. Can I take a hold on this? Would it make sense to keep my last question for hold it for another time? Well, what do you?
Okay. Well,
I'm wondering what the rest of the group thinks. Are we? So all of us are probably feeling this pull. Are we?
I would say just you and Hemlock are the ones who are clearly, and Turnip. So the only person who's not is Mehmet.
Okay. Are we? Hemlock, do you think we're gonna give into this pull?
Yeah, I mean, probably that seems to be the way this particular mission is going.
All right, it looks like we're gonna move in that direction. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, we're gonna keep moving forward till all of you are dead. Then I'm gonna run away. That's.
I'll tell you what. If you want to, I'll let you give that last hold and hand that over to Hemlock to make the survival roll to go and give him advantage on that roll.
Neat.
Does that seem fair?
Cool.
Okay. So the only person who isn't injured as badly, isn't infected, is Mehmet. But Mehmet and Turnip should both be at 1 harm. The others are more badly injured. But now here's the thing. This is a choice that you have at this point, Hemlock. You can press deeper in to follow this call, or you could try and get out of here now.
No.
So
no,
is
I mean
this? So we already unearthed
I'm
one
asking
data.
Hemlock.
Is that it? Okay,
Yeah, you
sorry.
get 1 data from that. Yeah, Hemlock.
No, I mean Hemlock's watched a lot of people die in his life. His entire bloodline got killed off by these things, and so if we can't take anything out of it besides us being infected, that's just more tragedy out of this place. We have to find something. We have to find some piece of information, some secret about it.
All right. Let's have you roll Wasteland Survival with advantage.
Okay. Oh, come on. That's a 5.
Now, you could ask for aid.
Yeah, I mean, this is Radicans. You seem to understand what's going on. You have to have something you can tell us.
Let's see.
Can't believe you got a 5. Oh God, 1, 2, 2. Wow.
Oh yeah.
So call for aid.
You could roll with lore. I would let you roll with.
Okay. Let's see. I have my harm says -1 stat. I don't know what that applies to though. If that would
To
apply
all your
to anything.
to
All
one of
my
your
stats are
stats.
-1?
Actually, to one of your stats. So
Okay.
you choose.
Okay, so I don't have to choose lore.
You don't have to choose lore.
All right.
But if you want to roll lore with advantage, you have to mark harm.
Okay. Steel seems like, given that I'm wounded, steel seems like a reasonable one to make it -1.
And do you want to roll this lore roll with advantage?
Let's see. Oh, and take another harm?
Yeah.
Yeah, I might as well.
Okay.
It seems
Yeah,
like
you
we
might
could
as
use
well.
it. All right.
You're losing money not doing it.
Yeah, it's true. All right. So here we go. Oh, boxcars and a 5.
So that will push it up to a
14.
7 to 9. So Patrick, you lose something along the way. A member of your group is hurt or sick, or an obstacle or threat is blocking your way back.
Yeah, we're already hurt and sick. We've lost most of our.
It would just be you, one person, and Radicans that would take hurt if you chose hurt.
Oh, if Radicans takes another hurt, Radican's dead. Radican's already at -4.
But yeah, I think it's an obstacle or threat is blocking your way back. Like we've got sort of a clear path in front of us, but these things are circling and rallying behind us.
Yeah, you can hear they weren't able to follow you out of the tunnels, but they are moving around in their sweeping pattern in the miles behind you. And you will come deeper into the violet, probably deeper into the killing fields than anyone else has before, and you will see a settlement, like an actual very primitive built wall settlement, and like buildings, very simple square block, like mud block and things like that. Maybe some gathered bits and pieces, and you will see there are all of these violacious there that are lounging in what looks like stables and resting, and they've got food troughs, and you will see maybe a couple hundred vaguely identical men and women, chads and chadettes, that are washing them and feeding them and cleaning and caretaking for them. And it looks like this virus, whatever it is creating pets for the violacious to take care of them.
Wow. Wow. These monsters, they're spreading this on purpose? Or no, who's in control here?
I think you will see that there is at the center of this particular settlement what looks like a much larger violations than you've seen before, kind of curled up, with more attention and luxury certainly spent on it. Like there is clearly a mother violacious here.
Oh wow.
So you've got a couple options. You could try and simply carefully get some lore to take back and maybe be able to, now with what you've seen and what you've picked up here, create a solution. Or you could try and kill this thing and hope that it's the only one. Or there's a third path, I'm sure, but those are the two that occur to me in this instant. What does Mehmet think of all of this? Especially since Mehmet is seeing his friends changing. And now they've been changing and they've drawn you to the place where there's a bunch of these people.
Hemlock, I don't think we could have ever expected this.
Who would?
I surely just the knowledge is more important than anything else we could get here right now.
The knowledge, yes, but this, I can feel it in my mind. This thing is inside me. It's changing me. It's changing all of us.
Well, I'll follow you. Whatever your decision is.
We can't leave here empty-handed. That thing is too big for us to take on. We didn't bring the right equipment. We didn't bring enough people. But live samples, if we could get live samples, it would tell us so much more than the decaying corpses we found before. One of the victims and, if we can, one of the violacious.
It might come down to one or the other.
Then I'd rather the victims, because I don't want our bloodlines to die. Says, obviously meaning himself.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Hemlock, you might be that live sample.
What do you think?
Yes. Fine, yes. If I have to incubate an antibody myself, we can do that. And we need one of the beasts. We can't understand this connection without one.
All right. So it sounds to me like we are going to have a fiercely assault to capture one of these beasts. Essentially find one that's isolated away from here, capture it, and then hopefully get out. Does that seem right?
Yeah.
So that's someone rolling with force. Now,
You mean that thing none of us took?
if someone has lore to spend, you can spend that to give advantage on a roll.
Data?
Sorry, data. Yes, sorry, not lore, data.
Yeah, I would definitely spend Radicans's data that he just picked up.
Okay. So that's the question is, who is making the force roll? Who is the person sort of leading this capture? Is it Hemlock? Is it Turnip? I'm assuming it's not Mehmet.
If it's not Turnip, it would be Hemlock. How do you feel, Ari?
I'm happy to make the roll if you want me to take the front. Yeah. Okay. I don't have any bonuses in force, so
but you're going to get advantage from the lore that I spent, the information that you've picked up.
All right. How do I've got these 2 red dice. How do I add a 3rd die and then roll all 3? I don't know how to do that.
I would just do 1d6 and then submit, have them out there, and then click all 3 and hit reroll selected.
All right, let me do that. Just do that first. Submit. There we go. And then roll all 3 of these. Okay, I got an 8.
Got an 8. Now, if someone wanted to roll aid, they could roll force to assist.
Oh, why not?
You could also spend lore to roll with advantage if you wanted to. Data, sorry.
This is kind of important, right?
I know, I'm just trying to judge survival against narrative. I don't feel like we have all the advantages in this situation. I think it's just going to be a straight roll.
Okay. Just don't roll a 6 or less.
Oh, okay. Oh, that 6? 6 was okay, right?
Just don't roll a 6 or less.
No, I definitely got a 6.
Did you roll those 3 6s?
No, I rolled the green dice.
Oh, okay.
4 and a 2.
So, Turnip, tell me what goes wrong.
Oh, jeez. So I've got this tuba-like apparatus that I take a blow off of every now and then, and I start getting dizzy, and it's coupled with this disease that I have now, and I just kind of, I think the smoke attracts one of the creatures. I think they smell it,
and they are on you even before you can get further in, even before you can move. And it goes so wrong, so fast, so quickly. Everyone's going to take 2 harm.
Ouch.
Oh, let me see how Hemlock
So
does.
Radicans is beyond dead. Radicans only had 1 arm left.
Okay, I'm going to have you give us the death move narrative in just a second. So we're going to hold that off for the last. Mehmet, you are hurt, I assume.
Yeah, I'm at 3.
Okay. As is Turnip. Now Hemlock.
I only took 1 harm, and I'm definitely taking that advantage to escape thing again.
Okay. So, Radicans, what does your death look like, and what do we see in the aftermath of that?
Let's see. So was it the voracious like tore up Radicans?
Oh yeah, they
probably?
came. They smelt.
Yeah.
Turnip, and they went.
Let's see. So now just to read my move, it says, when you die, terrible energies plague the area. Those that braid the maelstrom can find a device on your body. So I'm trying to think what that, if I can build that into the fiction as well somehow. I'm thinking that like part of the like knowledge that Radicans learned to get us through and to hold off the virus, that she managed to like basically come up with something a little bit more permanent, like a little bit more useful, and partly she just like developed it in like in the chemistry in her own cells. And I think that the voracious come and they just completely tear her body to shreds, but you can tell that there's like parts of these like for example where we said there was like silver hair or something.
Okay.
Was part of the description. I think like you can actually see like the silver hair on her body just before she was getting torn up, like actually starts to change color back to her normal color. So there's something in her cellular matrix that has like managed to counter the virus, and is not succumbing to the virus even as she's like laying there dead the way that most creatures did.
So here's the thing. The three of you who are left, this potential device, the eventual source will be here, but you probably need to get out of here, right, Hemlock?
Yeah, we need to go.
Okay.
We didn't even get one of the violations.
So in that case, I'm going to have you roll Wasteland Survival to get out of the killing fields.
Gone so well every time.
Now let me ask, as you're rolling that, Mehmet, Turnip, you see this potential salvation as Hemlock is leading you out. Do you go with Hemlock? Or are you going to try to make a last-minute dash to grab it?
I'm going to make a grab for it.
Okay. Then, Hemlock, I'm going to have you hold off for just 1 second as we see the fate of Turnip.
Yeah.
Turnip, this is forge a path to get at this device.
Mm-hmm.
So roll with force.
All right. I don't have much force. Get rid of that. Let me get rid of that 5. Do that. And roll the others. All right. 6.
So Turnip goes down under the maw of the horrible things. The violacious kill Turnip. So how will they will finally respect Turnip's imbibing of sacred substances?
Yes, the tuba-like device that I was smoking is going to be a very popular thing.
They will smoke a bowl in your honor. All right, let's see. Wasteland Survival, Patrick, with advantage.
Oh, this is the saddest mission ever. Okay, that's steel.
That is steel.
I have a point of steel. Will it help? Oh, that's a 9 + 1 is 10.
Awesome. So you get to pick one. You lose something along the way. A member is hurt, or an obstacle or threat is blocking your way back.
And all we have left is Mehmet.
Mehmet, and of course you have your weapons and things like that.
I think Mehmet's hair starts to change too.
And then also pick one. You discover a hidden treasure. You discover a secret path to take this route later without triggering this move. Or you discover a secret. Details on a threat, signs of other people, origin of the fall.
Oh, damn it.
You could find the secret.
I know, I really want that path, though. I really want to know something about the origin of the fall.
Origin of the fall. So not the secret behind the Chad virus.
No, we failed miserably. It's an
Okay.
awful mission. It all went wrong.
I think that as you are running through here, you will see some of the other ruins and things here that detail that hint at this Changers War, where people use bioweapons not to kill other people, but to change them. And that seems to be the thing. The whole source of the fall is people tailoring and creating these viruses and genetic things and stuff to change themselves and other people. And it got out of hand. Biological, nanite, whatever.
Oh, that's so cool.
We're going to cut to you having escaped, but ill, sick. Both of you eventually going to die from this, but that's where we come. We're going to zoom out from that, and when we zoom out, the two people who we haven't zoomed in are going to get a chance to make a pick here. So when we zoom out, this is for Darren, your character, and for Vayu. You can find a new place in your family, in which case you change your role. You can having gone scavenging in the wasteland, and add 1 tech to your family stock. You scouted for information. Describe a lead that might give you a new surplus, or remove a need and get 1 data. You helped out another faction or family and you get a treaty on them, or you discovered a new danger. Describe it and say which other family or faction it's threatening. Darren, what do you think? I haven't really seen too much of Stolar yet.
Yeah, I think Stolar went, they scouted for information.
Okay. So what is that lead?
I think I hope they do.
And what are your needs and surpluses? You need prestige, weaponry, recruits.
And then where am I?
Your surpluses are scouts and transport.
Yeah. There we go. Yeah. I was thinking of the lead will remove the need for prestige, and I think maybe Stolar was scouting beyond Hope's Edge.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Like discovery of new things beyond there. Okay. We'll come back to that in the family move and see what we can do with that. And what about for the Vayu, Walter?
Yeah, I wanted to pick scouted for information as well. Describe a lead that might give you a new surplus or remove a need and get 1 data.
So give yourself a data, and what do you want as the thing you're kind of doing there?
Excuse me. So I am I think that the Griffon Nomads are still like really intriguing to the value. And I think that I think we've like maybe learned some more information about their culture from interacting with them, and we think we can like I don't know, like maybe try to like sway them or assimilate them into the larger value fold. Like maybe we can even incorporate them if we can you know, sway their more like you know, elements of them, something like that.
All right. And what do you think that would be surplus then?
Let's see. Well, I have a need for scouts.
Okay.
So maybe it would be
peeling off some of their outriders and things.
Or let's see. Yeah, or I'm just trying to think, like, so surplus, we could pretty much choose like anything for surplus, right?
Yeah, they have in the book they have some examples, but yeah, it is pretty open.
And these surpluses and needs, they're basically just like fictional tags to monitor like where the mood is going to be for like whenever that comes up.
But
So
they surplus and needs are also can be spent for certain things. Their cost they are kind of a in some ways almost like a family hit points.
Okay, yeah. So I already have safety and morale as surplus.
So let me give you some examples. Barter goods, artisans, defenses, leadership, morale, prestige, scavengers, safety.
I think prestige actually sounds pretty interesting.
Okay.
Maybe, I mean, I'm kind of imagining like the values so far have seemed to be going pretty well. I'm imagining if I can play this out, that the value come out of this like looking like really ascendant in this age. So maybe prestige.
Yeah. So what we'll do is when we come back, we'll look at the family moves associated with that for you and the Bastion, and get those the like follow up on those leads. See if both of you are able to capitalize and get the surplus or eliminate the need. I do want to take about a 5-minute break here, and we'll also do family moves, checking in with the other two families at that point and see where we're at. Sound reasonable? That went so horribly wrong.
Oh my god, that was...
I can't believe you killed me in the end.
You might not die of the horrible Chad plague. You never know.
Yeah, it could happen. All right, we'll be back.
Oh. What the fuck was that? That was amazing, by the way. It was so good and perfect once I realized what was happening.
Yeah, that was an amazing set of bad rolls, and that took the fiction in a path I did not expect. And it was, I mean, I like the color that we developed in the setting too. Actually, in the midst of that,
Yeah, there was a lot of cool stuff in that. Chadville is crazy town.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, quick characters. They are made to die.
Yeah, they do not last long. We lost one last time.
Yeah.
Also, I love that the map is slowly becoming littered with, like, this is someone's body.
This is a game that, boy, this would be a good for a long quarterly game. I wasn't sure how it would be, but now kind of looking and seeing it in play, wow, some great stuff here.
Especially if you hit that turn of the ages at each quarter.
Yeah,
at least.
Oh yeah, so tasty. So we're going to come back, and I want to start with the Bastion, and I want to have you give us some narrative, and then we'll look at a move that will kind of maybe give you a chance to get that surplus that you set up, or remove that need that you've mentioned. And then we're going to do the same with the Vayu. And then we'll check in with the other two and see what they're up to, see whether we need another council, or whether we can just go to family moves. I know that, for example, the Starg probably have a move to that they wish to try and do with the device. So with the Bastion, Darren, we imagine that then Stolar has crossed the map, because your family is scattered, but often up by the area up to the far northwestern corner where the kaiju come from, right? So you've got people heading to the wall, heading to that barrier to try and find out what lies on the other side. So that sounds like it might be uncover secrets.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I was thinking that happened in the background, and now we're dealing with what afterwards. But yes,
yeah, this would be the move that we'll roll to see. And if you ask the question, how do I remove need? That'll be we'll just say that's you remove the need.
Got it. Okay. Yes, I have one data to spend, and I will do it.
Okay.
To hopefully best roll for your party here.
It's certainly
that's a 5.
That is a.
There is nothing beyond the wall.
Now, do you have any tech?
No, that was just that one little baby piece of data.
Baby piece of data here. You know what? You weren't here last session. I'm going to let you roll one more die. Because I'm a generous GM, because you would have gotten tech or something, things like that. Here is me not wanting us to all end in tragedy, or having a roll and being even more tragic, and I'll chef kiss.
Come on. Oh yeah. Well, that's a 5 still.
Still 5. So you headed up over there. You took an expedition. You mean you were like, we need to know. We've seen kaiju come from the waters. We've seen them head up there. And when you get to the top of Hope's Edge, what goes wrong? When your family were sent there and they committed resources to go, what went wrong?
I don't know if this is too weird. I don't think it is for this setting, but I
Sure.
think we got to the wall, and then whatever is beyond this wall, like what maybe like Stoller.
I think it was an
or-
ocean, we thought.
Right. We take a step past this wall or whatever it is, and then I think maybe it's just like we forgot that expedition happens, and now like I don't think anyone knows where they're at or like why they would have left.
Sure. Let's have you roll hold together.
Oh, okay. Wow. That's plus mood.
That is plus mood.
Okay, yeah, my mood is a -1. This is all going great. Roll. That's a 9.
That is a 9. So you mostly hold together, and you have a choice. You could lose people to harm and or desertion, gain need recruits. Another family or faction came through to help you, give them 1 treaty on you, or the danger hasn't passed so much as shifted into something more manageable.
That's interesting. What happens if I take a need a second time? Because I already have a need for recruits.
And then you'd have to reshape that need into something else.
Oh, make it a bigger.
Yeah, like need morale or something like that.
In addition to the need recruits, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay, got it. Oh, man. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna progress at my need.
Okay. What do you think the cost is when you lose these people?
Morale is pretty good, but I'm wondering if
defenses, scouts.
Oh, my scouts. I don't want to give up my scouts. Yeah, I'm gonna go with morale, right? Because I like that, because this is still people mysteriously disappearing. So we're still down on recruits, and people are feeling bad.
Okay. So tell me, Vayu, do you think that what you're doing is learning secrets about the nomads? Is it conducting diplomacy with the nomads? Is it doing subterfuge? Is it force? What do you think that is?
Yeah. Well, so I think there's 2 tacks that make sense. So the Vayu themselves they're not particularly good at diplomacy in general, but Vajrayo, they are good at diplomacy. So I think the tack would be for me to either, as a family move, just do claim by force and basically like colonize the Griffon Nomads. Then I can use grasp. Or if I did want to try and like win them over, I think to like zoom in and have Vajrayo pay them a visit with their diplomats would be the other strategy.
Well, I think you've certainly established the claim by force as your modus operandi so far.
Yeah. I mean that certainly seems to fit. And also, I get the feeling you wanted to like maybe resolve this with a family move and then move on to the like changing of the age or something.
Yeah, I think we might see where things are at that point.
Okay.
You know where the people are at. Well, so let's have you roll with your grasp.
Okay, cool.
I'm going to pause before you do that. I want to remind everybody that people can call in debts. They can lend aid, those kinds of things. Those are also options that are on the table. I just want to make sure everybody knows those moves.
How does that tend to work? Like calling in debts? So like if I have a treaty on someone, for example, how might I use that?
So let's say you were doing a move against them. You could spend treaty to get a +2 on them. You could also do it to go and take a surplus from them, and if they don't have treaty back, they don't resist it.
Oh, interesting. And this is just a different but this only applies to other like player character families.
Right. You can also get them to back you up in which case you ask them to lend you aid, and then they would essentially do the lend aid move to do that. So you're trying to force them to help you.
Okay. Okay, that's good to know. And so then I could do like a lend aid for the for family moves, does lend aid work the same as for character moves? How does
So what it is when you get when you have someone else's
Oh, there it
family,
is. I see
it's
family
you,
then.
yeah, they roll treaty with you, and then they can potentially give you fleeting advantage.
Okay. So advantage means, does that like bump up a roll, or do I roll with advantage then?
You would roll with advantage.
Okay. Could I claim that afterward if like make the roll and then get an extra die, or should I do that before, state that before I make the first roll?
This one is one of those ones we have to do it before the roll. If you're going to
Okay,
try
yeah.
and pull somebody else in.
I think I want to do that then.
Who are you going to pull in?
Good question. Fictionally, who would like to? Who might be interested in?
What treaty do you have on people?
The Griffin. Let's see.
That's the
I've got treaty on Starg and Bastion.
Okay. Do you want to call in a debt on one of them?
I think I feel like the Bastion, there's always that vocal group of people in my vocal group of people in the Vayu who are like, oh, but the Bastion have these flying mounts, and we're not really sure if that's like, if that's like good. But there's also like the Warhawks who are like, well, there's some flying people have like a position of superiority to others. Some of us are more advanced, and the mounts of that the Bastion fly, they're still not quite as evolved as we are. We don't have to totally. And I think this group is a little bit ascendant right now, and they're kind of like, and these Griffon Nomads, they're kind of savages. They really need us to like show them the way, So we're gonna go and colonize them and bring them our learnings and our great democracy, and we can get, and in exchange for that point of view, we'll ask the Bastion to come with their flying mounts and help us out.
So you spend a point of treaty, and then I turn to Darren, to the Bastion. So they come and ask you to help with this seizure. You can agree and roll lend aid and potentially be exposed to the consequences. Or you can spend a point of treaty to say, no dice.
The seers of the Council of the Dead respectfully decline.
Okay. So each of you spends a point of treaty on one another.
Okay.
They're not big enough to concern.
So we each lose a treaty on each other then. Okay.
Yep. And then we go to your claim by force.
Okay. All right. A big roll. So for some reason my roll for party isn't responding. There it is. All right. Ba-ba-ba-bum. Well, I got a 5. My +2 grasp rolls it up, moves it to a 7 at least.
Okay. So this is you seizing that prestige, and you have to choose 2 from the claim by force move.
Ooh. Okay. Let's see. So the choices are tie it to one of my surpluses. I chose that last time, so one of my 2 surpluses is already. Let's see. Wait. So my prestige would then be tied to a different surplus.
Probably be tied to your morale.
Yeah. Okay. Or there's a cost. Your family gets a need of the GM's choice. Ouch. So then I like.
It's a net
I was hoping to
0.
get a better mood for the changing of the age roll, so I'd prefer not to do that. All right. So then I guess I will. Choose the first and the third one. So I'll hurt somebody else. Sorry, guys, and I'll commit it to my morale.
So technically, right now you're going to have surplus 4, needs 2. So your mood is actually a 2 right now.
Okay. Well, so recruits is, I put that in parentheses because that was a need, and I removed the need, but it
Oh,
was
that's
tied
right.
to surplus.
That's right. So yeah, just so what I would do is do morale colon prestige. Then we'll show that you have both.
Morale colon prestige.
Yeah. And so your mood will be a 1.
Okay. Yeah.
So who do you drag into this thing? Who do you?
I get to choose.
Yeah.
Well, I think it makes sense to go with the Bastion, because we feel like they weren't there for us.
Bastion, when they go in to do this attack, they do it in places where you have outposts and people to force your hand. And so you're going to gain 2 treaty on the value, essentially, that they owe you for having pulled that shit on you. And the value are crushing and driving back the nomads, and the places where the nomads have attacked are certainly cheering the coming of the value, and they welcome their winged overlords and their anarcho-democratic system. And boy, the other 3 of you families, look at how the value are just rising up to the top. Let me just savor that with a little sip here. So good. Starg.
Yes.
Tell me now, you want to take control of the...
Yes.
So you have built this device. We had you build that last time, right? With your particular move.
Mm-hmm. I did I get the device last time?
Yeah, you got the device. Yeah. You used that. We said what you needed to do. You spent. You're going to spend those 2 tech to get it. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Where's that on the character sheet? Where did I put tech? I know tech it's there somewhere.
Yeah, it's under data, between data and mood up top.
Here it is. Didn't I need to spend tech and data together? Is it 2 tech, 1 data?
What you needed was 2 tech and the power source, and you got...
Right, that's it.
Yeah, you got those things for that.
Okay, so I'll mark off that tech. So yeah, I'm building this machine that I'm hoping to put on some sort of flying craft, one of my sail, ships.
And what do you want to have happen from this thing?
Basically, the first thing I'm going to do is use it to tap into the hive mind.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever that network is, to gain control of whatever it is. Is it a queen? Is it some sort of like central brain? Whatever that is. And then go from there.
So what I think is that we're essentially, you can use this to eliminate a need maybe that you have, like defenses or progress or engineering. Like you can, if you succeed, you can use this to do that. Does that seem like a fair mechanical representation?
As far as like what I want to get out of it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that could work.
Yeah,
yeah, let's go with that. That's cool.
Yeah. What I'm going to say is, so we already did the whole thing with expedition, things like that. So I think this is going to be a claim by force with advantage because you've set all this stuff up. Does that seem like a reasonable thing, or do you think there's something else?
Isn't there a family move that I have specific? What is that? Weird science? Isn't that the one I was doing? Or that's that's the creation part of it?
Yes.
Okay, I got it. Yeah, so claim by force, that's plus grasp. Oops, what is this? Claim by force. And you said with advantage.
With advantage.
Okay. I have a -1. Okay. That's what I was looking for. Okay, so that's a 9.
That is a
10 minus 1.
10 minus 1. So what do you want as the thing? Do you want it to eliminate a need, or do you want it to give you a surplus?
I'm going to take a surplus.
Okay. What do you want to call that surplus?
Uh,
Workers?
Did you got any other ideas besides workers?
Like, what do you want them to do?
Oh, well, actually wanted them to work on a cure for this, using the tech we got from these.
Oh, so you don't want a surplus. You want to fix a threat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, could I get the workers to work on that?
Yeah, I would. So you won't take a surplus, but you will solve that threat, and I'll let you define how that looks.
Okay. So yeah, that's cool. So maybe we have, since I have control of the hive mind, I'm able to get the worker surplus is actually what are they called? I forget these creatures.
The cultivars?
Yeah, the cultivars. And then since I have the disease, we could plant the disease on them and see how they react to it.
Okay. In that case, what I think we've done here actually isn't a claim by force, but is almost more of an uncover secrets.
Mm.
So we'll take that roll, and we'll roll it over to that, and you're going to essentially figure out the solution for this threat.
Okay.
Tell me what that looks like. When you get these cultivars, these things that make these crystal bodies, and they convert other things. What is the answer to the Chad plague?
Yeah, so maybe it kind of starts to spread and progress, and they start to change, but they have this adaptation, and because it's a hive mind, they're sort of sending whatever this antibody or responses that each of them is having. They're having this collective response to the whole thing, and whatever that is, I don't know, like it's a process.
Yeah,
that
you get a crystalline antibody that you can use to protect your people from the Chad plague.
Mm-hmm.
Now I have a question for you.
Yeah, I'm not
Do
going to
you
share it.
share that secret?
Maybe you're going to ask me that. This is pretty good leverage, isn't it?
It is.
Is there any kind of move I could do here that could make that interesting?
Well, that essentially would be probably you talking to another one of the families, or we could even do a council meeting here in a second.
Yeah, look, I'm interested in doing a family meeting. Like, I want to find whoever I think would be a good supporter for me in this case. I don't know.
The family that's being horribly decimated by it right now?
Maybe, yeah, that makes sense.
So let's do that.
Primogen.
Let's do that. We kind of come in. It's not really a zoom in, but it's a scene. Let's see of you talking with Hemlock, with the family meeting again, like before. Hemlock, how do you look? Like what? How do we know that the disease is ravaging you when the Starg arrive with a cure held in their clutches?
I think he's got like bright blue eyes at this point. His skin still has that like weird planty texture, but has turned more of a sort of like pinky human color. And the random like scars and vines on one of his arms has started to reform itself into basically like a swirling tribal tattoo. I mean, we're one step away from the puka shell necklace, and then it's all over.
Okay, all right. So what do you say?
I think this is with Jurga, right? Who's wearing the mask, and he's got his people there, or is this like family level?
It's up to you how you want to define it. Essentially, we're just doing a little bit of the fiction to kind of play this out.
Okay, I got you. So there's this holographic. I put this sort of device on the table, and there's like a holographic projector, and it shows the disease working on me, and people, administering this cure, and then it's like a time lapse showing the process of the regression of this, and then me returning back to normal again. And I just turn to you after it's finished and say, I have the cure.
I think Hemlock, you're used to seeing him very like confident, assured, very sort of like calm and diplomatic. But he just looks up at you. He's exhausted and like barely controlling a sort of fury bubbling under the surface. And he just says, "What do you want?"
In exchange for the cure, I will call in a flavor at a future date. I expect to back me.
Yes. Well, it's not like we have any choice in this matter, do we? You have our salvation, and of course, our eternal gratitude. Till you call it in, and then we're even.
And I slide a canister over.
Thank you so much for your generosity.
So do you think that this is that you gain a treaty on them? Is that the sort of the mechanical functional?
Yeah. What can I do with the treaty?
The
Call
treaty,
it in for a favor later.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Call in a debt is the move that works with that treaty.
I like it. Yeah, that's what I was going for.
Okay. Then I want Darren before I'm Darren, Patrick, before I move on and maybe do the turning of the age, I want to see if there's anything we need to do with you, family move wise or anything.
So I was looking at dealing with that, but the Chad plague is actually sort of okay. I don't quite want to go out and claim by force or anything. I've been looking.
You could call in a debt. That's a way you get a surplus.
Yeah. Let's see who's got.
If you have more treaty on somebody than they have on you.
No, I'm either even or at disadvantage with everyone except the Vayu, and I think we're still very close to the Vayu.
Okay.
But I was looking at Uncover Secrets.
Absolutely. You have some data to spend?
I do. So sort of the Chad thing is less of a problem. The Violacious are still there, and they'll probably get angry with their diminishing Chad supply. Gotta go back in for that body at some point. Yeah, I think in all of this, we figured out the Violacious are horribly dangerous. The Chad plague is awful, but that like plant effect, the killing field, the violet flora, there's something valuable in that. It's the only part of this whole mess that's not like ruining what it's changing. It's actually making something very valuable out of these plants.
Right, and certainly that is something that Radikins was hinting at, and that Mehmet was seeing some of when you were in there.
So yeah, I think a new resource currently untapped.
How much data do you want to spend on this roll?
It's not a roll. Uncover Secrets is
just spend data. Yeah.
Yeah, no, the remember we got that wrong.
Oh, gotcha. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Still
No,
not
I
updated.
forgot to adjust that on the thing after I said I would.
You're
Like
a
a
monster.
boss. It is it's what it is it's roll
Plus
data
data
spent.
spent.
Yeah.
Okay. And data doesn't really affect turning of the age.
No.
Yeah, I'll blow them both.
Okay.
Boop. And you. Oh, and good thing I did. That's a 7.
Okay. So on a hit, you get to ask one. How do I get surplus? How do I remove need? What's the truth behind? How can we make best use of?
So I'm still looking at my overarching family goal of like getting into Drassel, which I imagine is going to be a wonder thing. Is there one of those choices that would more point towards wonder development than the others?
Ooh, interesting. Why don't we say that if you want, we can establish that this role gives you one of the pieces you need for the wonder that you want to work on. Because what wonders are is about spending resources and tucking them into things and using that. And we can say that this does that. Like it takes care of one of those things.
Ooh, yeah. So maybe like incorporating some of this violet flora into like Hemlock's body allows him in some way to actually open up a clearer communication with Drazzle. Like it makes a link where they can actually talk to each other.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, that seems reasonable to me.
Okay.
Cool.
I'm
And
into that.
we've already got the Drazzle marked on the map, but I imagine that there's now a place, a like Drazzle meeting point, like a place of communion with the Drazzle that we can mark on the map then.
Cool. I'll work on that.
By the way, I just saw Violacious and I was like, oh, it's a viola. And then I realized it is not. But yeah. So I would like to, if it is okay, and I'm kind of pushing us forward a little bit faster. On this next stage, I want to give us more time for some of the family moves, because you can do treaties and get debts and things like that. But I do want to move on and go to the turning of the age, and let's walk through that process, because this will give us a chance to do that. So how this works is when years and generations pass by, we roll mood. And if you look there, I've just put this in at the bottom of the family moves page. What we'll do is you're going to roll with mood. If you roll a miss, you're going to have to choose 2 from the trials. If you roll a 7 to 9, you choose 1 trial and 1 fortune. If you roll a 10 plus, you choose 2 fortunes and you gain 2 tech. And then there's the steps of the process. We give the broad story of the family through the age. We do any changes to doctrine, lifestyle, gears, and traditions. You're going to name a new custom to remember the past age. And everybody will add a new threat, opportunity, or faction to the map. And we'll adjust any of the map elements to fit with that. And yes, Darren is ready to fill the role. Any questions about that before we get started? Okay, then Darren,
Lead the charge.
lead the charge. So what is your mood right now?
-2.
Okay,
We're not
so
hot these days.
let's have you roll. The die roller is due.
I got an 8, so I got a 6.
Okay,
Total.
so you're going to choose 2 needs for your family.
Mm-hmm. Is it just 2 needs, or do I get? Is it the whole?
Sorry, 2 trials.
I thought it was,
two trials.
yeah.
I was like, oh,
So much terms. There's so many terminology.
let's see. I glanced at these. Oh, Okay, I'm gonna do a plague ravaged my family. I think maybe we just did not get wind of this cure, or it was too late or something by the time the Chad struck us. So afterwards, they promised aid in the future, gain 3 treaties spent between any families I wish, but I take the need medicine. And then I'm going to take your family fell apart into feuding factions. The eventual victors are strong, more unified, but lacking refinement. I get a 1+1 grasp, surplus leadership, but gain a need and culture.
Okay.
Oh, that's a lot. I'm putting all that treaty on this Stark.
Okay. It's all their fault.
I appreciate that.
Okay.
Let me quickly, I want to quickly fill color all of these to make it a little easier to break these apart.
So how much treaty did you get on me there?
I have 5 on you total.
Wow.
Yeah, I gained 3 and I have 5 total. Yeah.
You're going to have to put that to use.
Yes.
I need to fix that. Gain. Hold on. Sorry, if you put a plus at the start of a sentence, it reads that wrong. Okay, then this is actually.
I'm showing that I've got 0 on you. Is that right, Bastian?
I have that you have 2 on me.
Okay, I must have not written it.
Okay. So you've made those 2 choices. We're gonna. You can take a look now in your playbook and see if there's any changes to your doctrine, lifestyle, gear, and traditions that you want to make. While I move through and do everybody else's roll. Does that sound okay?
Yep.
Okay. So let's move to Ari. Ari, what is your mood?
Looks like I'm at -1.
Okay. And then let's have you roll.
Okay, well, that puts me at a 5.
So you get to choose 2 trials.
Let's go with, it's definitely not flag. Let's go with something monstrous from the wasteland. Took a particular dislike to my family and has been hounding me ever since.
So one of these kaiju, you think? Or something different?
Yeah, it's got to be one of the 2 hornets' nests we rattled up. So I like kaiju because kaiju can cross a lot of distance.
And what kind of secret do you think you've learned about it?
Can this be an advantage? Could be anything I want.
Yeah, you're going to get 2 tech, but you're going to have disadvantage on failing moves against those things.
Yeah, so maybe this 2 tech is I can adapt some of the hive mind technology to try to affect the kaiju.
Okay. So you get 2 tech. What is your second trial?
Okay, let me try to keep up with all this. I'm going to write this down, plus 2 tech. Okay. And then the other trial is... Okay. Let's have a little drama here. Your family fell apart into feuding factions.
Okay.
The eventual victors are stronger, more unified, but lacking refinement. Gain +1 grasp and surplus leadership, but gain need culture.
Both you and the Bastions infighting after the Chad.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna write that.
Excellent.
I'm just writing this. I'm not putting it in my character sheet yet.
Sure. So, and then you'll have a chance while the others are going through their stuff to take a look at your playbook and see if for your family and see if you want to change your doctrine, your lifestyle, your gear, or your traditions. Let's come to you, Walter. Your mood is
so let's
+1.
Yeah, +1.
Okay, let's have you roll.
Okay. Ooh, 6 + 1 got me a 7. All right,
just barely.
getting prestige helped out, I think.
You're going to get 1 trial, 1 fortune, and you're going to gain attack.
Okay, cool. So so I kind of like the fortune. Your family finds a windfall, whether through scavenging or absorbing a smaller family. Gain 3 surpluses of your choice, but it's left you bloated, gain need, idle.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
And then just so all right, I'm the one that I'm gravitating toward, which I feel like everyone's taking this one, but it sounds cool, is your family fell apart into feuding factions for the trials. The eventual victors are stronger, more unified, but lacking refinement. So take +1 grasp, surplus leadership, but gain need culture.
So everybody falls into a barbaric dark age is sort of what's going on here.
Yeah, I think my democracy fell apart, and now we're an authoritarian ruler of the Bayou.
That'd be a great chance for you to change your doctrines, lifestyle, tradition things. That's great. Good fictional positioning. All right, Patrick.
Hey.
How are you doing?
So, we got to the end of the age, so my investment in land paid off, and I got surplus recruits, taking me up to a +1 mood.
Look at you. You could be the one who gets the 10+.
Why would you say that, Lowell? Why would you say that out loud? Okay, you, and that button. Ooh, 8 + 1 is 9. Ah, so close.
So close. But you get a trial, a fortune, and attack.
Okay, I know what the trial is. And I think it makes a lot of sense. Something monstrous from out of the wasteland took a particular dislike to your family, has been hounding them ever since. Say some secret you've learned about it, gain 2 tech from scavenged parts, but take disadvantage on family moves against it. So we had talked about this sort of like amorphous, shifting, perfect predator nature to them.
The perfect predator. So bears.
But I think that's like the top range of their ability. When they were being pampered and perfectly cared for back in the village, whenever they traveled out, they could adapt to whatever problem they found. But I think with the slow dying off of the Chads and Chadettes, their maintenance is less perfect, and they're sort of like locked in a particular form now. I think they're in that wolf form with the sort of like advantages and disadvantages that come with it, but only it.
Excellent. So they still hate you when you go against them. You're still going to be at disadvantage, but it gives you 2 tech, which you can always spend to gain advantage on rolls. So that's useful. So that's the bad news. What's the good news for your family?
Sorry, I'm just double checking them all again. I think with the threat of the Chad plague and then the sudden like fixing of it and this discovery of I called it the Lilac Chapel, but this place where I think probably Hemlock went in there and like supercharged the mutability nature of this virus that was still lingering in him for like became one with this building. So this like grown building where they can interact with Drazzle is sort of the remains of Hemlock's body and consciousness. But our family goes through a golden age, questioning old philosophies and forging a new path. Gain a new family move, but gain need leadership.
Ooh, nice.
As Hemlock, who's been holding on far past his lifespan and past when everything in this world should have killed him, has been like the central leader of this family. He's no longer in that position.
Excellent.
And the move I want to get is recycling. When your character dissects the body of an unnatural creature, they can improvise a device from its organs and fluids. Also, I can make some surpluses.
Fluids. Nice. Let's come back to talk to the Bastions now. Bastion, what currently are your things like your doctrine, your lifestyle, traditions, those things? Are there any changes that are going to occur to that, or do you think we're still where they are?
No, there are some changes.
Let's hear it.
I think with some general population devastation, with the Chad virus, the infighting, the new leadership, we've changed from a dispersed group and we've settled now. I think in Nittheim, out of that, I think we kind of moved in there and like set up a location. I think there was some idea that part of our weakness was that we didn't settle somewhere. And I think we've thrown off some of our. I've changed the doctrine to carrion market, so we can announce and do surplus when a behemoth is found. I think they're just becoming that's reflecting more of a proactive lifestyle, maybe, whereas before they were more watchful and guarded.
Like there are fewer kaiju, but and so it gives you time to, like, when you defeat them, use their resources.
Yeah, and the move that lets it be from the behemoth or their environments.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, but yeah, a bigger focus on like, I don't know, honing in on that, the supposed expertise of the family.
Okay.
And then I changed the population from hired hunters and indentured servants to a tribe of unhinged zealots.
Okay.
I'm really pushing those hunting aspects, but I'm keeping the flowing robes of adaptive camouflage because that's cool, and the Council of the Dead. And I'm seeing this zealotry is channeled more towards a sort of like theocratic, sort of like pseudo hyper-religious thing, where this is like a mission for the people.
Nice. Okay, I'm gonna move on and check in with Ari. We're gonna come back when we swing back around, I'm going to ask you to give us a new custom. Ari, are there any changes to the Starg?
There is one. I'm going to switch from dispersed to a nomadic lifestyle. As a result of that, you know, the factions breaking out in my family.
Are there? Are you all over the map, or is there a particular zone that you're moving through?
Yeah, we were kind of just all over. I think we're just kind of maybe seasonal now. We're still dispersed, but there's movement as the seasons change.
Okay.
There's also change with just continuing with nomadic. I have that technology, and I use that to cure the primogen. But the source of that is hidden, and so we're still keeping that mundane looking as far as like how we're controlling the hive.
Excellent. I like it. And I'm going to come back to you on a custom here in a second.
Okay, where is the custom? I didn't see that in the
you're going to make one up. Like, you're going to tell us something that becomes a tradition, or a thing that like, how do your people remember the last age that passed? That's what I'm going to ask you. Let's come to the Vayu. Any changes you want to make to doctrine, lifestyle, gear, or traditions?
Yeah. So I'm going to change the tradition governance from loud anarchic democracy to a tyranny of the strong.
Okay. That makes sense with the fiction you've established.
And yeah, I think that's the main thing. We're still so there's, let's see, I'm trying to where is this? So under doctrine, yeah, I think we're still gonna say we're hunters.
That makes sense.
So yeah. So I think everything else stays pretty much the same, except I think I mean, yeah, I don't think the Vayu ever had a whole lot of culture, but I think that's like even more now. It's been like really like there used to be a lot more like differentiation, and now that's been like really repressed. Like there's still a lot of very different birds among the Vayu, but now they have to like hide their differences more to fit in with the autocratic ruling minority's view on what a proper Vayu should be.
So definitely a squashing of individualism.
Yeah, and I think the Griffon have suffered under this the most. I think they've been incorporated into the Empire, but they're like very much this like downtrodden, you know, like the backwater that is under the heel of the autocratic ruling party.
Nice. And we'll come back and ask you for a custom in a second. Patrick, I am very curious about where the Primogen are at.
So I still like a lot of my choices.
Yeah, I think they're solid choices. You didn't break up into a nasty civil war.
But I do think the influence of turnip spreads through the society. And so my where are we? My traditions, my populace was a co-op of carefully managed bloodlines. I think I'm going to change that to atavistic throwbacks. Like people are going deeper into these genetic alterations. Their entire like sub-bloodlines that aren't just human plus something, they're almost barely human anymore. And so this like the parts of the society that follow more into that witchy, mystical, pseudo magical sort of approach to things have started going wilder, more extreme, out into the corners of the corners of what's possible.
Excellent. I like it. And yes, Ari, that was a good pun. Thank you. So tell me then, for the Bastion, what is a custom or ritual or something that stays on for them to remember the era of the Chad plagues?
I think that Bastion has started keeping very meticulous genealogies because of families disappearing, because the families dying, like not even having bodies they could identify. There's like very extensive records, so someone can like, maybe this is even built in some tech for like they can give a drop of blood or something and they'll call up exactly who they're related to and give names and like all that stuff.
The idea of having sort of identification that marks you and tracks your family and things like that. Okay, I like that very much. And then what about for the Starg?
Do all of you remember Holgan? Holgan's body is over by the compound. I don't remember where Holgan died exactly, but there's a shrine that was built where Holgan's body was. And there's a rite of passage for any new scavengers to go and bring back a piece of Holgan's body, which is placed in a reliquary, and it's a rite of passage to do that.
Nice. And then what about for the Vayu?
So this is like a new custom that developed for the New Age?
Ritual, something that is hung around to remember the past.
Yeah. I think that the there's sort of this like part of the regime. It's like maintains its oh no, let me think of something else.
Could be even a ritual that rejects or what's another word for it? Repudiates the past.
Yeah. That's kind of what I'm leaning toward. So I'm thinking that like the Vayu used to be, I mean, we're still because we're still very warlike, but I think before there used to be like much more dissent, and now we're very much like like we fight in formation and that kind of thing. And I think that there's like this new myth has come up, which is it's not true, but it's like this myth that in the past it was because all the Vayu were like very much the same and very much followed orders that we were able to succeed. And that's like absolutely not true.
Yeah, but they rewrite the past.
Yeah, exactly. We've actually like lost our past, and now it's
Nice.
now it's just all what's the word I'm looking for?
Revisionist.
Yeah, revisionist, or what's that, like propaganda?
Yeah.
Our history is just propaganda now.
Like when the 19th century's writers went back and rewrote Irish history to suit a whole narrative there. The whole imagined background. I like it. I like it. So that brings us to the Primogen. Primogen, what is the new ritual or cultural element?
So I think it ties back to the violaceous plague, the purple thing, and it's like when Hemlock and dang it, names, I told you, Mehmet, the only ones that return from that disastrous mission, when they get back and they spread the word of like what they'd found, what had happened, there was this like reaction, this paranoia. We have to watch out for this plague. We have to worry about this encroachment. And so basically everything purple in the society was gathered together and burned, destroyed. Anything that was painted purple, like eggplants, rhubarb, kale, like anything purple that would hide this encroaching plague, that would make someone not notice it, is gone from the society. And I think that turns into like an annual tradition. Like they don't have anything purple in the society, but once a year they like make and paint a bunch of things purple. They burn them in effigy and remembrance.
Tis the burning of the purple.
But I think once Hemlock dies and that Lilac Chapel is established, it turns it into this very weird space for the people, because it's like simultaneously holy and blasphemous. It's the only thing that's allowed to be purple.
Nice.
So that's the tradition.
I love it. I love it. Darren, before we do, I want to turn us to the map, because we're going to mark some things on the map now.
Okay.
I want to make just a couple of small adjustments here. I'm going to actually take this Griffon Nomads arrow off. I'm going to move the Griffon Nomads a little bit off to the side. Like,
I just want to maybe interject before we go too much farther, because I might have goofed something. So I took my trial that I took gave me a +1 grasp. But that would put me at +3 grasp, and my character keeper only lets me go to +2. Did I?
Oh, let me look at
Is there like a limit of +2 grasp?
Let me see. Now that's moved. It should go to +3. So go ahead and pencil
Just
in
write that
3
in. Okay.
there. Yeah.
Okay.
It's just a drop down. I think I was working from the starting values, because I do think it can go to +3, but I think that's the top. If not, we'll look and find out what the deal is with that.
Okay, just wanted to make sure I wasn't going beyond.
So I've kind of moved the Griffon Nomads. They've kind of been pushed back into a more settled area off to the western side of the map, just to kind of move them and sort of centralize them. I imagine that they're a faction and not an NPC faction at this point. We can decide whether the Cult of R are or not. We have mentioned that there are other factions around. But Darren, you get to add 1 threat, opportunity, or new faction to the map.
Yeah, I gotta add an opportunity. I need opportunities.
Hey, what do you want? What are we going to put here?
Let's see, a new opportunity.
And I'm going to do this to everybody. I'm also going to ask you about if anything from your fortunes or trials needs to be marked on the map as well.
I think the opportunity has got to be we're adding it to the map. Oh, we're adding it to the map. I think there is a yeah. Okay. I think that there's like a sinkhole or some sort of fissure opened up. I don't know if it's within like this compound Monsanto Mother Archive area or maybe just outside of it.
Okay.
I don't wanna maybe not make that area too busy, but
Yeah, outside is definitely a little easier for you to access.
yeah, let's do outside, maybe like just south of it.
Okay.
And this sinkhole has revealed like a massive underground facility.
Okay. What do you want to call it?
That's a good question. Let's call it. Oh, let's call it the. I'm just gonna call it the underworld.
Okay, sure. Is it smaller than that massive thing that you put down there?
Yeah, I minimized it.
Okay. All right. So the underworld, and this is a sinkhole that's open that has access to elder places down there that is close by. Was there anything from your fortunes or your trials that we need to mark on the map, do you think?
Maybe like I like that idea of like the ruined watchtowers, or like maybe not the ruined watchtowers or whatever, but like the conflict that happened with the Vayu and the Griffon Nomads, and where that got like my stuff involved. So maybe there's like a small ruins now.
Okay. So I'm going to let you put both of those on the map with some names. So let's come to Ari. For the Starg, you can add a new threat, opportunity, or faction to the map.
I'm going to go with threat.
Okay.
The first foray into the compound really pissed off some of the creatures there, and then our repeated forays there with these would-be, upcoming scavengers doing their rites of passage. Something has left the compound and is now moving into outside territory. And
maybe those micro kaiju that we saw.
Micro kaiju. Oh, I like that.
The little raptors.
Oh yeah, the little raptor ones. Yeah. Is this going too far to say they're moving towards cultivar? You've got that wall there.
Oh yeah, I think that's fine.
Yeah, they
just put a little thing and write in a name. What do people call these raptor-sized beasts?
I'll have a name for you shortly.
Okay. All right. And was there anything you think from your trials or fortunes that you needed to mark?
Trials or fortunes? That's back on my character sheet. I don't see anything that No, you can skip that.
Okay. Okay. Absolutely. Then let's come to Walter.
Okay.
What do you want to add to the map?
So I want to check in on everybody with this because this is kind of out of left field. This is like a place we haven't gone yet. I'm kind of want to like play with the Griffon Nomads. Well, I have this idea. I have other ideas too. I could totally start over, but the Griffon Nomads. No, maybe this is too out of left field. I was thinking like maybe there's some kind of like spiritual like leader among the Griffon Nomads that wants to like rise up this like new faith that like unites all sentient beings here and blah 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 and like I don't know, something interesting like that. But maybe that's too out of left field.
You don't want a big avian crusade, a big avian
like a
dark creature?
Yeah, and it would be, I'm kind of thinking, oh, like a dark, oh, I don't know, interesting, yeah. I mean, my other thing was I could, like I was thinking like the, like some kind of like maybe a flying kaiju. There's actually like some kind of giant flying monster that like comes out every once in a while, like some kind of a crazy dragon-like thing.
We should leave that kind of thing, the big things, off the table, because that actually ties into Darren's move.
Yeah.
So those are kind of in his.
All right. So maybe just like something simple. All right. All right.
Do you want to think about that for a sec?
Well, I mean, there's already, part of what I'm thinking is, oh my God. Part of what I'm thinking is there's already so much stuff going on here, and I feel like there's like unresolved stuff going on as well.
You could, if you don't want a threat, you could put another location that people could try into their fiction, or you can put another faction that people could talk to.
Yeah. Oh, is that monster that you just put on? That's the one that is that the micro kaiju?
Oh, Ari, you're muted.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, is that appropriate?
Yeah,
that works.
It's cool. Okay,
Perfect.
I'm still thinking of a name. Anyone has a name, throw it in the chat.
Okay.
What was Corbell? I forget what that was again. It's like a yellow L in the near the middle of the map.
I think that's a settlement, if I recall correctly. I think that's a settlement that we established.
Oh, is that where was the homeland of the Bastion? Is that Corbell? Or there's I forget where the Bastion's located.
I thought the Bastion had people all around. I think they were dispersed.
Is that it? Okay.
Yeah. For some reason, I think Corbell was a settlement that we named throughout, but I'll have to go back and look.
All right. Yeah, I don't remember anything about Corbell actually. Does anybody have something they want to say about what Corbell was? Maybe I'll say something about Corbell.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, maybe Corbell is yeah, I want to say Corbell is like a new faction that has emerged since the previous age.
Are they violent? Are they religious? Are they technological? What kind of thing do you think they are?
Yeah, let's say they're religious. I kind of like that idea. In fact, maybe it's even maybe it's this strange kind of like melting pot thing where the doctrine is more important, and they actually have members from like different factions. Like they've got some people from Primogen and some people from Bayou, and they're all united by this doctrine of some kind.
Okay, yeah, so a sort of syncretic faith that has come from meeting of different peoples. Since we've had a lot of families split and splinter, it makes sense that we would have a doctrine arise there. Why don't you give a name to that faith and put it up by Corbell? Patrick, threat, opportunity, or faction?
Faction.
Ooh, okay.
I think one night there is an earthquake that just rocks across the entire land, and it leaves this like column of dust and smoke rising up from Hope's Edge.
Okay.
And when people go to investigate, there's no, that's not. What are you? Why would you do that? That's not what I told you to do. Sorry. When people go to investigate, there is something there in the middle of the wall. It's not busted down. It's this perfectly built, like 100-foot tall gates in the wall, and this like walled community, this sort of like community that's butted up against it, that's just built up out of nowhere overnight, appears there. And I think it's a faction called the Beyonders. because they're from beyond the wall.
Excellent. I'll figure out kind of what they're like for next time.
But I see them as a way to explore those question marks of like, what is beyond the wall? What's happening out there?
Excellent. There's some ones we haven't used from the playbooks that'll be interesting to kind of adapt to that. All right, so put that name on there. I have one last question for you, and this is kind of a vital one. Darren, do you want to keep your old character playbook? This person survives on, or this is their son. Do you want to have that character get older and take on a new playbook? Or do you want to make a new character?
I think I gotta make a new character.
Okay.
I think Dollar was lost in that fated expedition that no one remembers.
Okay. So what do you think you're going to... I'm going to give you the first opportunity to talk about what kind of role you want. You don't have to do the whole thing now. We can kind of stop and do that at the beginning, but let's at least set what you want to do.
Yeah. I think they're a leader for sure. We have this new order in the Bastion. I want to explore that role where somebody's like actively leading.
And do you think they're an elder, envoy, firebrand? We've got all those wonderful choices there.
Yeah, I was thinking, well, I don't know. Wait, no, I forgot what I was thinking.
I'm going to be giving up the survivor, so that's open. I don't know if is there a like only one person per playbook thing?
There's not. More than one people can have it, but I do ask that if two people take it, that you negotiate about move picks.
Man, I'm gonna stick with it because that's what was in my head. But right before we talked, so yeah, leader, and I'm thinking of the Sentinel actually.
Okay, that's an interesting role. Yeah, that's our sort of more combat-y character. A strong defender, and it makes sense in that context.
Yeah.
Ari, are you going to have your character survive or be a sequel with the same playbook? Do you want to move that character to a new playbook, or do you want it to make up a whole new character?
I'm also going to do a whole new character.
Okay. What do you think you're going to do for your playbook?
Did anyone take the Reaver? No? Might give that a shot.
Okay.
Give that a shot. This is something we're going to be doing offline, I take it?
Well, yeah, you can play with it, but I don't want to do it right now. You can do it between now and then, and we'll also stop and check in at the beginning of next session, so you'll have time to do it then. So don't worry, but I just want to get that set so everybody kind of knows what to be thinking about.
Okay.
What about for you, Walter?
Yeah, I definitely want to take a new playbook. I think Vajrayo is out.
Okay.
I'm not sure what new playbook I want to take yet, but I would like to say that I picked a name and I think a philosophy for the Corbel spiritual order. So I'm calling them the Morphosyncretics. So I think they've been inspired by Chadville. And I think a lot of people who were infected by the Chad, like they didn't all die, and they've kind of all become more similar, like more physically in their appearance, even though like genetically they might still have a lot of differences. And it's like created this new like spiritual philosophy that like by changing our outward appearance, we can all find this like kind of more of like a unity in the world. And so they don't necessarily want to become Chads, but they kind of have this belief that the like just changing our shapes to be more similar. And so they're like, I think like some of them from other like the Starg and the Primogen are even like using their technology to like find new ways to morph bodies, and they're like trying to like, I don't know, you know, basically that's the idea though. Like,
so I like the idea of people who maybe were infected, and then got the cure, have some of those patterns that are still left around in them. And in some ways, it's kind of again a repudiation of what the Primogen believe in about the sort of the constant changing. Okay. So why don't you think about your playbook? Let's that you want to change to. Let's come to Patrick, and then I'm going to come back to you and check on playbook. Patrick, do you know what you want to do with your character?
I do. Briefly first, I forgot to mention from my Trials and Fortunes, I extended the killing fields as I think it's spreading intentionally towards the Primogen rather than just circular out.
Nice.
But playbook, like I said, Hemlock is gone. He's a building now.
Oh no.
I think I want to go with a seeker. I think with the Lilac Chapel, it's time to like realize Hemlock's dream of getting in with the Drazzle, and I think someone who can really study the mysteries of the tree and the ancient tech could do that.
That's a great one. Yeah.
I'm also thinking of moving the dominant visuals, bloodlines of my family to something animal based. I'm not sure what this time, but you know, I played with the plant. I want to do an animal based thing now.
Rums up Tunker.
Yeah.
Walter, what do you think for your playbook that you want to move to?
I'm like trying to look at them over, and I'm trying to like yeah, I'm kind of struggling to like get a coherent sense of what any of these playbooks would look like for mine. I still haven't decided yet.
Well, how about this? Since the others have chosen, and so you know what they've got, why don't you think about this between now and next session, and then we'll at the start of next session, we'll take 10-15 minutes and walk through everybody's character stuff and get that all set up.
Okay.
That seem fair, everybody?
Sure. A question. Did anyone take Hunter? Did anyone take Hunter?
Nope.
No? Yeah, I might choose Hunter if Walter doesn't take that. It's between the two. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you all very much. We're at about time. I appreciate you letting me push us forward to do the turning of the age to see what that's like. I want to definitely give Darren and Walter first bite of the apple on zooming in next time, so everybody gets a chance to do that, and we'll kind of try to balance that play. And I know that there are some very cool kaiju moves that I want to definitely I want to get those out on the table next time. So I'm going to stop the broadcast.